I should have been more cautious. Nobody thought I would live at that point. It really came down to the will to survive.
Sometimes a simple mistake can be devastating. And a split second means the difference between life and death. 3 survivors share their stories of a day they almost died. In Southern California, Trevor Montgomery, his wife Robin, and their 9 children are spending vacation at an old mining town.
The Calico Ghost Town was famous for its silver mining back in the 1800s, early 1900s.
When they get there, Trevor and one of his older daughters, 14-year-old Caitlin, head out to explore the area.
We were looking for like old mining equipment or a cool rock, or my kids were just so into exploring.
So beautiful.
Once they head off the main road, there are no trails. Trevor and Caitlin chart their own course through the hills.
We had asked for maps when we first got there. They didn't have any. They just said everything to the west side of Calico is pretty safe. So we decided to stay on the safer west side.
Trevor works for the Riverside Sheriff's Department. Safety is his #1 concern.
Anytime I'm with my dad, I feel safe. And I knew that no matter what, I was gonna be protected if I was with my dad.
20 minutes into their trek, they come across a sign.
There was a huge painted neon arrow pointing directly towards a small, what looked like a man-made cave.
Whoa.
Your first thought is there must be something cool in here.
You wanna check it out?
No.
I got scared. I was a little scaredy cat.
Are you sure it's okay?
I don't see why not. I'll go first, okay?
Okay.
Come on. Wow.
What is that?
Oh, that was a bat.
So I was teasing her. My daughter's afraid, I'm gonna go in with her. I walked into this little cave.
Wow.
Whoa.
Look at this. Wow.
Something in my gut just said, don't go, stop, right where you are.
You don't wanna check it out?
And just instantly just got chills up my back, terrified.
You're no fun.
There was a low crop in the ceiling. I wasn't looking at the ground in front of me. And the moment I ducked down to go under this overcrop, I disappeared.
The cave is so dark, Caitlin can't see where her dad went.
One moment he was there, the next moment he was gone. It was like a ghost had taken him. I heard all these banging sounds and what sounded like rocks crumbling. I just stood there silent for a few moments before I started calling out to my dad.
Dad? This isn't funny. Dad? Dad?
But her dad doesn't answer. Caitlin runs to get help. She must find her way back to camp, which is at least 20 minutes away, and she has no map. Back in the cave, Trevor had been knocked unconscious, but is now waking up.
I had no clue where I was. I don't remember falling. I don't remember hitting the ground, and I'm thankful I don't.
Trevor has fallen deep into an old mine shaft.
I was very foggy and confused and disoriented. I couldn't hear anything except very far away echoey sounds, and I knew something was really wrong. I tried to bring my shoulder up, instantaneous, nauseating waves of terrible pain shooting up and down my back. Tried to move a little bit to the other side, even worse. I could feel my broken back grinding. I had almost fully amputated my left foot in the fall. My left foot was up here, brushing against my ear. Because my back had folded onto itself, my foot was spraying blood, and I knew if I can't stop this bleeding right now, I will die from loss of blood. I reached back over me and I pinched off the arteries as best I could to slow or stop the bleeding. And I waited, and I waited, and I waited, hoping somebody is gonna come along.
Half an hour passes.
My arm was starting to go to sleep, and I would have to let it go, and then it would just start pouring blood again.
Trevor knows he needs a tourniquet, but is helpless in this position.
I had the idea. I started grabbing anything I could find around me and packing dirt into the wound. The dirt and rocks and sediment that I was pushing into the open wound helped the blood coagulate, staunch the bleeding.
Now all he can do is wait and hope help is coming.
My training said, fight. Don't give up, don't close your eyes. You've got all those kids, you've got your wife. Stop being a baby. And about 15 minutes later, about 45 minutes after I fell,
I'm here. Honey, where? Trevor, honey!
I heard the first sounds of people arriving.
He just disappeared. It's okay. We're
Baby, I'm here.
And I kept calling his name,
Trevor!
Baby, I'm here.
and he finally answered. It was this muffled, moaning.
I'm here, baby. I'm here.
It sounded like he was miles away. I couldn't see him.
Trevor!
It was pitch black down that hole. And I said, honey, are you okay? And he said, baby, it's really bad.
I need help.
I went back out of the cave and I called 911. Come on.
Police know exactly where the cave is. Just 7 days earlier, a man had fallen down the same mine shaft.
He happened upon the same area that I did, and he fell down the exact same hole I did, only he fell to his death.
The arrow had been painted to direct rescue crews to that accident.
Everything's gonna be fine, okay?
The shaft is so deep, a specially trained mine rescue team must be flown in from around the state.
I love you too.
It's a process that could take hours.
It's gonna be okay.
I was just so thankful that I wasn't going to die at the bottom of this hole without being able to say goodbye to my wife.
I thought I'd never hear your voice again.
All we were able to do was just sit and wait.
Trevor? Trevor?
coming up.
Nobody thought I would live at that point.
I'm not gonna die here. I'm not gonna die.
And later.
I knew right there that was gonna be the end of me.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun, you know.
Trevor Montgomery fell into an old mine shaft in Southern California. He's now at the bottom of the hole, waiting for a mine rescue team. His back is broken and his foot is nearly severed.
Trevor, are you okay? Please answer me.
I think I was very, very close to death a number of times.
You have to keep talking to me. Please don't scare me like that.
I'm not gonna die here. I'm not gonna die.
Finally, 10 hours after he fell, the rescue team arrives and immediately gets to work.
Get a rope in.
They set up a tripod system with a pulley on it.
Going down. On rappel.
As the rescuer makes his way down the hole, he estimates the drop at over 90 feet.
Trevor,
He assessed my situation,
tell me if something hurt.
immediately realized this is bad.
Got some help coming down, Trevor. We're gonna get you out of here.
Thank God.
The 4 by 5 foot shaft is too narrow to lay the gurney down.
I got it.
I'm a back sport, man. Don't do it.
We're gonna control your back.
It turned out to be infinitely harder than they were expecting.
Breathe deep.
Oh, God.
All right, you're doing good, Trevor. You're doing great. All right, Trevor. We're almost there, bud.
Instead of being able to lay the litter flat and put me into it,
Got it.
they had to hold the litter vertical, prop it up against the wall.
I got him secured. Okay.
Just getting up out of the hole took almost 10 minutes.
All right, that's the basket.
1 foot, 6 inches.
He was in tremendous pain. Just I've never seen that kind of pain on anyone's face.
Stick with us.
I got to kiss him goodbye. I wasn't sure if by the time I got to the hospital, he was gonna still be alive.
And we have to do our job here. 2, 3.
Trevor is rushed to a hospital an hour away.
It was a good 12 hours before I took off in that helicopter. It was more than enough time to die.
In the operating room, surgeons address Trevor's most life-threatening injury, the nearly severed foot.
The first surgery was to repair the arteries in the foot.
Doctors managed to repair and reattach the foot, but Trevor has suffered another injury. A burst fracture to his L1, one of the vertebrae in his lumbar spine.
A burst fracture is like crushing a donut, and it means that the fragments will spread radially. Unfortunately, in this case, radially includes backwards into the spinal cord.
Doctors fuse the vertebrae in Trevor's spine, but say the damage to his spinal cord is beyond repair. 2 days later, Trevor wakes up, but he can't move or feel his legs.
How you feeling?
The doctors came in and told him that he would never walk again. And I got very angry with them, and I was not very ladylike. And I told them as long as they were gonna steal his hope, they could get the hell out of his room and never come back.
Though Trevor prepares for life as a paraplegic, he refuses to give up.
I was a physical therapy beast. I started moving a couple toes, and then it was my ankle, and then it was both ankles, and then I was just man on a mission.
Nice.
Trevor defies all the doctors' prognoses. Just 7 months after his accident, he's walking again.
It's amazing because just 15 months after my accident, I did return back to work full-time as a sheriff investigator.
But over the next 9 years, Trevor continues to suffer complications. His reattached foot becomes infected, and doctors eventually have to amputate the foot and part of his leg. Today, the former sheriff's investigator spends his days volunteering and raising his kids and grandkids.
I actually think he's more positive than he was before. He looks at life differently. This is his second chance, so he enjoys things more.
When I deal with the pain I deal with, when I'm having a terrible day or a rough morning, I just think, but I'm still alive. I'm still here with my family. And then it just makes everything okay.